Welcome to Real Possibilities with AARP, because AARP believes no one's possibilities should ever be inhibited by age. Hi, I'm Elaine Warner. I am your host for today's program. I am on staff with the statewide nonprofit office of AARP with AARP's purpose in mind, and that is to empower you to choose how you live as you age. And I'm going to start the program today with a couple of questions directly pointed at you. So here goes. When you think of AARP Connecticut, do you think of healthy cooking demonstrations? Do you think of wine tastings, movie premieres, maybe seeing a movie before it's even being showed to the public? Beluga whales, Bengal tigers even? Well, maybe you should when you think of AARP. Do you think about tools or resources to help you in a job search? We know that a job search can be stressful. We want to make it fun, exciting, interactive. We have job seeker events where that happens, and maybe you'll even get a glass of wine and some other refreshments. And wouldn't you want to keep yourself and your family free from scams? You know they're all over the place on your iPhones, on your computer. How about attending an event with an internationally known celebrity? In fact, a Hollywood movie was produced on this celebrity, and we had him in Connecticut with almost 1,000 people in attendance. And how about volunteering? We know that volunteering is something you do in your free time, and we want you to have fun while you're doing it. Therefore, the name of the program today and our theme is AARP in your local community, Fun with Purpose. And we have the perfect guest for that. This person is someone who initiates, is the impetus, inspires Fun with Purpose activities. She then hands them off to her staff to execute, to also recruit some really amazing volunteers and engage with the public. And our guest today is Nora Duncan, the statewide director for AARP Connecticut. Welcome, Nora.
Thanks. Sometimes I even have to staff those myself. You know, you never know. I like Fun with Purpose too.
Sure, you can volunteer with Fun. You can come as an attendee. You can come as an AARP member. Yeah. All can jump in. So again, the title of our show today, AARP in your local community. We stress local. We're doing that right now with you face to face through the camera lens, but we're calling it Fun with Purpose. And Nora, we're going to put some action shots up. You've seen them, our volunteers and people out and about at our events. So you'll see us out there, and hopefully you will engage with us in the future. But if you can define firstly, Nora, when we say at AARP, Fun with Purpose, generally, before we get to the specifics, what does that mean?
Well, AARP is a nonpartisan, nonprofit social mission organization with a membership. The social mission comes first. So when we're out in community, we always have to have a focus on our social mission. But social mission doesn't mean boring. Right. It never should mean boring. I don't want to throw boring parties. Right? No one wants to come
with
to those.
you on that.
So we try to make sure when we're mixing our social mission in with our community activities that they're fun and that people can find something to do no matter what their interests are. So we try to keep it different, interactive, eventful, convenient, days, nights, weekends, you know, whatever can meet the schedules of our 600,000 members in Connecticut, but also the general public. We're often doing outreach on topics that are not necessarily geared toward the age 50 plus. For instance, our retirement security programming at breweries. You know, we want to reach people who are younger and working and have time to save for retirement, encouraging them to build their financial base now and not wait to think about it until their AARP membership age. So we have to be all over the place. We have to be creative. We need to be open, and we need to make sure people want to come back and continue to engage with us. So that's the fun, and the purpose is the social mission.
Great definition. Makes me want to come to more events as staff or as an attendee. And Nora and I both want to mention, we'll keep putting it up on the screen, the website to find our events is aarp.org/CT. And then Nora, if you can just talk through that website, they're going to see events come up, right?
So the website is twofold. It's news and it's events. And so you're going to see articles about what we're up to. Sometimes that's about events. Sometimes it's not. And then there is a button or a widget that has, you click through and you're going to see all our events in chronological order, and they just keep changing all the time. You know,
keep going to arp.org/CT,
they
right?
change all the time. Those are 95% of those are events that require registration. Again, also 95% of them are open to members and non-members and people of any age. Some things, you mentioned, for instance, the movie premieres, those are often saved for members and their guests. But most of our stuff, you know, is because of the social mission. We want to make sure we're getting to the public, so that website is there and people should check it out and check it out regularly, because you and I both know we are adding to it daily.
Absolutely. I say twice a month, but even more. Once again, arp.org/CT events will pop up right near the top. Click on that and you'll see all of them, and register for any of those that you are interested in. We keep mentioning movies. I'm gonna sort of do this by genre categories here. Again, ARP, in your local community, fun with purpose. So one of my favorites, as you well know, is movies for grown-ups. So what is that all about?
So AARP Movies for Grown-ups is a national program that is negotiated out of our national offices with studios for access in advance of the public premieres of films for AARP members and their guests. Occasionally also we'll see something that is already out, but we're gonna basically buy out the theater and show that film to anybody. And then non-members can join us as well. The true great thing about it, I think, is that it really does focus in on films that are geared towards adults, and that feature people over age 50. And we even have our own movie awards night, AARP Movies for
Los Angeles, red carpet event right out there.
Right out there, it's awesome. We keep trying to get invited to that, but not so much luck yet. So this is just an opportunity to get people out to an event with their peers in their local community to have a fun night out. We focus when we're there on what we're doing locally, what people can join us at later. We focus on the social mission aspect of AARP via, you know, sometimes it's caregiving, sometimes it's fraud. It depends on the month and what the film is, and we usually pitch for volunteers at those too. So it gives us an opportunity to give people a little treat, but still get that social mission in there, and to, again, highlight what Americans age 50 plus are doing in Hollywood. You know, we always say aging is changing, and
no question.
You know, maybe 50 years ago you would never see a 70-year-old woman as the star of the movie, and now you do. But the movies range. I mean, we're across the board.
Right. Very popular program. We try to spread it around the state to give our members opportunities. So look for those. Again, arp.org/CT. You're going to go to events. In the opening, I mentioned a celebrity who taught the public about how to prevent and protect against fraud. And then there was a movie made about this particular person. What was that all about as well?
So Catch Me If You Can. Folks may remember Leonardo DiCaprio played a charming young con artist by the name of Frank Abagnale. And Frank Abagnale, you know, he scammed a lot of people out of a lot of things back in his day. But he, after getting caught scamming everybody, you know, changed his stripes. And many years later, he is an ambassador for the AARP Fraud Watch Network. So he tours around the country. We've actually been lucky enough to have him twice in 3 years, once at Central Connecticut State University and once at Mohegan Sun in conjunction with the International Association of Financial Crimes Investigators regional meeting. But, you know, you get to hear about how to prevent frauds and scams from the super high tech to the super low tech, from somebody who sure knows how to scam people. He's actually on a podcast of AARP's as well. And AARP has a lot of great podcasts that people can download where they get their podcasts regularly. But the important thing is to help people keep their hard-earned money in their own pockets. And if we can't get your attention, you know, through our regular means, we're going to get your attention by having an ambassador who people know and recognize. And I saw the movie. I loved the film. You know, back when it came out, I was really surprised to see what kind of a following Mr. Abagnale has.
Indeed, yes.
Among all generations.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let us emphasize, as we're talking here, whatever age you are, these activities, think about planning earlier on in life. We're going to talk about some events that we mentioned before at breweries, but teaching younger people how to save in advance.
And I think the important thing that you and I forget, other people don't always know, is these events are free.
Right.
We don't charge people to come to these events. We budget so that we can throw these kind of events, and we just hope people can, we don't want to exclude anyone by having a charge. And so that hopefully opens up doors for people that maybe wouldn't necessarily have those doors open. Many people aren't going to be able to go see someone like a Frank Abagnale speak because other organizations may charge for that.
Right.
Right? You
At
may
one
be,
point.
it's $30 to go out for the movies for two on a regular night that isn't discounted. That's a decent amount of money for people. But even if it's not, everybody likes a free event better, And then we hope that when you get there, you are really excited and are surprised and happy about what you found at this event.
So I have to add to our show today, fun with purpose and free.
Free.
So
Fun with purpose.
keep that in mind. I've heard also that ARP does comedy nights on the same subject of fraud.
Yeah, not everywhere, but we are privileged enough to have been introduced by our AARP Puerto Rico office to an actress and comedian named Marian Pabon. Now, she was the star of some telenovelas in the 80s, and so she's very well known, but she also has some Broadway experience. She's an actress, she's been a reporter, she's a comedian, and she is our ambassador, unofficial ambassador, to bringing fraud prevention to folks with a fun twist. Fraud is a serious, and Mr. Abagnale will scare you. We use Marian Pabon in a different way, where she will help bring awareness, but she does it with fun. So we've had her now, it'll be twice in Connecticut, Danbury and Hartford, with the first time she's ever done her show in English was with us, and our relationship, we were able to actually help bring her to the Massachusetts and Rhode Island state offices as well. So, her New England tour, and we're excited. We're also going to have a little happy hour with the one here in Connecticut.
Free.
And that's what we try to do, is create events that are multifaceted, that you can have some social interactions during, and you can get the information that is going to help you with whatever the topic may be. In that case, fraud prevention.
Well-defined fun with purpose. If you just tuned in, real possibilities with AARP Connecticut, Fun with Purpose events. State Director Nora Duncan is our guest today. And Nora, one of our members and other people in Connecticut, other residents' favorite spot is the Beardsley Zoo.
Yes.
And we have an event called After Hours.
Yeah, we actually have a very long relationship with Connecticut's Beardsley Zoo. It's in Bridgeport. It is basically our only zoo, and it's really a gem. It's a really beautiful open space it's co-located with Beardsley Park, which is Bridgeport is Connecticut's Park City. So the relationship with the zoo has been ongoing, evolving, but includes us opening up the zoo after hours when it's closed to the general public for events that are, again, fun with purpose. We have done a Livable Communities event there. We have done a prescription drug event there and a retirement security event there. But basically, you have a happy hour style event inside of their carousel, which is a
And
historical,
there's a literal carousel in there.
literally
Yeah. You can
the
ride.
carousel. And so you can ride the carousel, you can explore the animal exhibits when the rest of the public isn't there, and you get information and engage in a way that is really interactive. We're not talking about lectures. We're talking about informational booths with quizzes and interactive. Our volunteers are knowledgeable and trained in the subject matter. And so again, it's an opportunity to see one of Connecticut's treasures without, all the rest of the people. And additionally, we have been able to offer to our members and their guests admission at no cost to the zoo for 3 or 4 years now. We call it Free Fourth Fridays
Yes.
at the zoo, and it runs in the nicer months. And it has been an extraordinarily popular event that we have taken that theme and moved it to other parts of the state as well. Most recently, Mystic Seaport.
Yep, let's talk about that.
With Free Tuesdays. We had 4 Free Tuesdays at Mystic Seaport, brought in close to 400 people each time.
Yep.
It's an amazing opportunity for a social mission organization like ours with a membership to be able to sort of share the wealth with other nonprofits in our community. I mean, these are key tourist destinations, but they are still nonprofit organizations, and they exist off of the relationships and the admissions that they get, and we are able to work with them in order to have a mutually beneficial relationship for AARP and for the organizations. And while we're there, we're checking you in so that you get to go in, but we're also having a conversation with you about the topic of the day.
Right.
So the topic of the day may be, fighting the high cost of prescription drugs. It may be about voter education. It just sort of depends on the time of year and what we're up to, but we always mix that offer for our members and guests with the social mission. That's really key. And that's a theme that travels throughout all of our
And on that note, Nora, a moment ago you mentioned livable communities could be another engagement piece. Just very briefly, what is the definition of livable communities?
So, I could go on and on with that one, but
hard to do it briefly.
bottom line, what's good for an 8-year-old is good for an 80-year-old, and everybody
what do we
in
say,
between.
cradle to
grave.
So literally, yes.
Cradle to grave.
Yeah.
So, for instance, a very simplistic example would be, let's think about a highly trafficked, both pedestrian, maybe bicycle and car, neighborhood. It needs to be safe for everybody. A stroller,
Right.
a wheelchair,
A walker.
in safe, maneuverable streets so that people can interact and get to where they need to be. That's one of 8 domains of livability, for instance. But it's everything from social isolation to employment opportunities to health, and the list goes on.
So, and that's intergenerational.
Yes.
Which moves me right into the events that are happening at breweries.
Yes,
that
those
we've
are a
done.
little bit less intergenerational in that we don't want the 8-year-olds at the breweries.
Thank you. Excuse me. That distinction is very important. But many of us are living longer, and we want to make sure that people do not outlive their income. So we are approaching, in a more focused way, the younger generation. Correct?
Yeah. So people may say, why is AARP at all these breweries? And we are at a lot of breweries, but in an organized fashion. And the reason we are in breweries is because specifically we are trying to reach a demographic of people who would never think to look to AARP for anything for themselves. So we have a law in Connecticut, the Connecticut Retirement Security Program, which when it is implementation begins, which is sooner than later, it will roll out as a mandate for businesses with 5 or more employees to provide payroll deduction for retirement savings at work. The businesses don't have to contribute to the retirement savings, but they have to offer people an opt-out opportunity to save for their own retirement in a Roth IRA style savings plan. I do not need to make this as well known to people who are nearing or at retirement age than I do to people who have a lifetime of savings opportunities ahead of them.
Right.
So we go to breweries that are open to the public. Probably most people know now, or if they don't, I'll tell them there are over 200 breweries in Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they are destinations for people. They can a lot of them they can bring their own food, and buy the beer. And so what we do is we invite our members and the general public in ahead of time to register for these events and enjoy a beer and some food. Learn about the Connecticut Retirement Security Program that we call Connecticut Saves, that we call Connecticut Saves, but also we're able to offer the same thing to people walking in off the street.
Yep.
So if we can get 40 people who would not ordinarily have shown up for our event because they're not members and they're, age 21 to 49 perhaps, to join us and learn, then we can help spread the word in a way that meets people where they live. You know, it's a lot easier to just go to where people are than to try to sort of demand their attention in a way that doesn't make sense to them. But the great thing about those events is it's just kind of taking a quiz. You take a little quiz with us.
Fun, interactive again, very fun.
Well,
and our volunteers, our amazing volunteers are out there.
Our
engaged
volunteers.
with the public.
Our volunteers are the quiz masters. They know the answers to the questions. People vote on what they think. You know, and it gives us a visual as to how many people here do have, you know, retirement savings opportunities. How many people here knew about this law before they walked in the door? And it can be difficult, as people might imagine, to try to get the attention of younger audiences if you're AARP.
Right. Well, and my understanding, Nora, is that this law will affect hundreds of thousands of people throughout the state of Connecticut. So another great example of a Fun with Purpose event. It makes me segue into wine tastings. So how would those be Fun with Purpose events?
So we are entering our third annual AARP Day at Stonington Vineyards. I hope that we have a fourth and a fifth. But it offers us an opportunity to invite people out to the vineyard, have a glass of wine, and learn about what we're up to in community. Again, it's sort of the topic of the day. The most pressing thing we're working on will be the thing that we showcase there. But it's a light touch interaction, getting people engaged. Like I said, could be on the high cost of prescription drugs, could be on voter engagement. It could be on, we worked on paid family and medical leave, the retirement security program. It could be on a number of different topics, but the idea is to get people out into their community, interacting with their peers, bring a friend, and be able to enjoy what Connecticut has to offer at no cost to you while learning about what we are up to. And it's been really successful. Breweries and wineries alike are sort of destination spots for folks. And it's nice to be able to be treated. Everyone likes
free.
Yeah, everyone likes a treat. And it does create an atmosphere, as the person who's there on the ground with the volunteers, an atmosphere where people are more likely to listen to what we are doing in the social mission because they feel like they're in a welcoming environment and they are getting something for their membership dollar, or they get to learn, because it's not just members who are invited to this, about what we're doing, and then think, the next time I have an issue maybe related to caregiving, or I know my aunt is nearing Medicare age, maybe I'll think about what AARP resources are out there, seek those out for my informational sake. I mean, AARP.org itself is a wealth of information.
You could spend days, weeks on our website.
And or maybe I didn't realize that you were doing job seeker events, and I am looking for a job. Or my neighbor is 54 and he just got laid off. Maybe I'm going to tell him about this. So it's in a very crowded and loud world, it is difficult to get your message across. So we have to find ways where people are more open to listen to the message. And that's another example of a place where they're more willing to.
Right. Again, AARP in your local community, Fun with Purpose. Member offering, if you are an AARP member, and by the way, if you are, thank you for that, you are amongst at least 600,000 members in the state of Connecticut, and we appreciate that. But briefly, Nora, if you can, just a few minutes left, believe it or not, if you can highlight some of the member offerings that we have.
And so I will tell you one thing before I do. All of our member offerings are with nonprofit organizations in Connecticut. I'm not talking about what our national office is able to negotiate from our for-profit side. I'm speaking as to what Connecticut can offer. So we have dozens of local offerings that provide savings opportunities for people to go see these nonprofit organizations and all they have to offer. So when I say I'm doing work with the Mystic Seaport or Connecticut Beardsley Zoo or Mystic Aquarium, I go and try to provide our offerings at places that also offer our members money off of their admission. For their member and guests, so that we're having, again, a mutually beneficial relationship. So there's ongoing places across the state, whether it be, a fitness center that actually is open to people with disabilities, and it's the only one in the state. It's called Chapter 126, Sports and Fitness. And so if you are someone with a disability who is maybe married to someone without one, you can both go to the same place to get your exercise. So from there to the Longworth Theater, Theater Works, to, again, the zoo, the aquarium, and many other museums, but also to 2 colleges in Connecticut. So if you are thinking about going back to school and you are an AARP member, I would suggest checking out Goodwin College and Albertus Magnus College, because we have a 15% tuition discount at Albertus Magnus and a 25% tuition scholarship at Goodwin College.
Fabulous.
Yeah, and Goodwin College is for most things, but even if it's to a degree in nursing, for instance, you may not be able to get the full degree with the scholarship, but many, many, many of the classes that are needed to move into that degree are available. And then there's certificate programs like manufacturing, where in 9 months you can get a 25% scholarship and be in a career that is 99% guaranteed to have job placement before you're even done with school.
Great to know. And this is a program, Nora's been a real mover and shaker in making that happen. Again, not much time to go here. Let's talk about some ticketed events, and let's include some sports, if you can just kind of reel things off quickly.
The for-profit events that we're allowed to do are with sports.
Okay.
And we are on site engaging everyone who goes to the game. So if you've been to the Hartford Yard Goats, or maybe to the Bridgeport Sound Tigers, or maybe you'll see us at the Hartford Wolf Pack, we're going to be handing out free tickets to our members and their guests and the general public if they sign up. So again, people should take a look. And we're going to be engaging with the general audience for those games in the concourse section, again with the social mission. So lots of people can come by and see what we're up to and learn about all the different offerings that we have in the state, again, from fraud prevention to caregiving to our safe driver program, and the list goes on and on and on. But, you know, we are, again, trying to be where people go.
Right, local.
I don't want to force a square peg into a round hole and try to force people to show up for me. I'm going to show up for them.
And Nora, you mentioned destination points like Mystic, Seaport, Beardsley Zoo. If you have friends in town that are tourists and they're going to them, have them come on in as well. We've seen them there. Yeah,
and also, you know, for people, and I'll say this, for Goodwin College, for instance, and you know, there's a huge online learning component to that. You may have a friend or a loved one in Nebraska who wants to take an online course. You don't have to be a Connecticut resident to take advantage of this. I just have to be able to prove you're a member, and that offering, that scholarship, that money saving, that life-changing opportunity is available. And we've had people show up at the Mystic Seaport from all over the country who just happen to be in town.
It's a great destination. There's so many things we didn't get to. We have Hispanic Latino specific focused opportunities, high percentage of Hispanic Latinos in our state, and so we address that. We're out at the Pride events.
I think that's a good point. When I say we go to where people are, so we sponsor and support larger events put on by other organizations. Latino Fest, you know, Hartford Pride, the list goes on and on, but again, where people naturally gather, we want to be there to help get our information out. And so sometimes that's a big fun festival, and sometimes it's a health fair.
Right.
But the list goes on. And again, our resources, making them available to people, social mission first, member or not, because there's people gathering all over the place, all the time. And we want to be in those communities and be local and tell people about what's going on in their neck of the woods.
So I hope you have been taking notes on our program today, AARP in your local community, Fun with Purpose, notes for you to attend events, or you might be interested in volunteering. We know volunteering is something people do in their free time. For sure, we want you to have fun with purpose, whether it's greeting our members, checking them in at events, attending the events, supporting events. I'm the program specialist for volunteer engagement. Elaine Werner, call me. Happy to tell you about all the Fun with Purpose events, either as an attendee or as a volunteer, 860-548-3169. I want to thank our guest again, Nora Duncan, statewide director Director for AARP Nonprofit Office. Nora, thank you for being the inspiration and the impetus for many of these great Fun with Purpose events. And here we are in your local community. We hope to see you physically out in the local community, aarp.org/CT. Thanks for watching. We'll be back in your local community very soon. Hope to see you, and thanks for watching.